Chris, you said let's start, so let's start. So today we're doing Svelte. So yes, we're going to learn SvelteKit from Carl. Emma unfortunately couldn't join us today, but Carl is here and he's going to take us through this project that he's built, which looks super cool, by the way. So we're going to find out what tools we use, how you all can get involved. And for those of you who don't know Carl, Carl is working on our API project, on this project, and doing some amazing work at GitPod, but I'll let Carl give themselves an intro. So Carl, please give yourself a shout out.
So yeah, hey everyone. My name is Julian. I'm currently working as a front-end developer, and yeah, I'm really glad that I'm here today.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining me. And we really appreciate you taking your time and sharing your knowledge as well. So this is awesome. Big shout out to everyone who is here. I'm going to leave Crystal last. There's a reason why. I can't pronounce her name. Thanks for joining. SLH, Mohith, and Shivam. The reason why I'm leaving Crystal last is because I went out for dinner with another YouTuber. You probably saw me with Alex at the collab in Bali with them, and they actually mentioned Krish at dinner tonight in Bali. So Krish was super helpful for them getting started in coding. So that's awesome. So thank you all so much, and a big shout out to Krish for helping. Everyone, don't forget Carl's link to his GitHub is in the description below as well. This project is on EddieHub, but Carl's doing so many awesome things in the open source community. So do go check out his GitHub below. So Carl, what are we doing today, Carl?
So just to get things a little overview over this project. So what this project currently is, it's just the front end which is querying the GitHub API. I think you recently shared some tweets about how this can be done. Yeah. And what it actually does is querying our GitHub organization for good first issues and displaying them. We're using the GraphQL interface, not the REST. So it's a bit off standard to spice things up. But the GraphQL API provides some advantages for us, which would result into other efforts when not using it instead, when using REST instead. So what it's technically doing is it's a SvelteKit front-end app which uses Tailwind, and it carries the GitHub API for good first issues inside our GitHub organization. And what we are planning to do is issue, I think it's called issue 25, search all of GitHub for issues with label EddieHub good first issue. So community members can add this label to their issues, and other members are able to find them, the issues with our app, just to simplify things even more regarding the good first issue channel on the Discord server.
That would be awesome. So yes, I can't wait for all of you to add the label to your issues, and then we can see it appear in the app. So we're going to need your help to test it out. Before we get started, I have some questions, Carl, if that's okay.
Sure.
So could you show us the bit that's querying the GraphQL part so we can get a bit of a kind of familiar understanding of what that looks like? Because I actually don't know, so I'm actually keen to see it. You might have to zoom in on your code. Okay. It's quite small.
Can zoom even more.
And great to see we've got Tom here, Mohammed, Pradumna, Sean, Shashmita. Great to have you all here. And Bull has arrived as well. So awesome to have you all here. Are you able to make it a little bit bigger still? It's still quite small.
Still big, okay, sure.
Yeah, if it's okay.
Cool. Nice.
Thank you.
So we are using SvelteKit. It's like the equivalent to Next.js for React or Nuxt for Vue. This means we are able to define custom endpoints, and the actual query gets sent inside a custom endpoint, which is currently called getIssues.ts. We are doing the server side because then we are able to use process.env with a secret. We are using a GitHub token in our environment. I won't show it now, but it's actually just an env file with this v token, so we don't run into load balancing issues at the GitHub API, because I think when providing a GitHub user access token, we are allowed to do many more requests than we are just in case we wouldn't provide it. So we are fetching the data on the server side in a custom endpoint, and we are using the OctoKit package for it. And yeah, that's the actual GraphQL query. So we are querying issues, and then we are getting the URL, the title, the labels assigned to them, the repository where the issues are in, the owner of the issue, and so on. Yeah, we are having the query string. I think that looks quite familiar to GitHub users, because that's the actual thing you could put into the GitHub search bar here, for example, when querying there. So that's technically just copy pasted from a regular GitHub query. And skip is currently, we are displaying 50 labels. There's also a follow-up issue for this to provide an pagination or infinity scroll or something like this. But yeah, that's for the future. I think that's currently not relevant, because as you see, there are currently not that many issues to display that we would run into pagination errors or something like this.
Okay, awesome. So that looked really interesting. So the reason why I like it is you can select what fields are brought back, whereas
Exactly.
with REST, you get kind of everything brought back. So this is, with GraphQL, we can be super selective, keep the payload nice and small, which is great. So, okay, so yeah, we'll come to the front end later, because I'm guessing with the ticket to add, to search the whole of GitHub for that label, we're just going to update this part here, and then it will automatically still display in the list. Is that correct?
Technically, yes. I thought of building like a toggle or a switch inside the UI, so people can decide whether they want to query just our organization or if they want to query like global GitHub. But yeah, technically you're right. It's technically just adjusting this query here. But
shall we start with that first, and therefore we can see the results coming back, and then we can filter it and have the toggle. So we need people's help. So we need all of your help. So go to one of your repos and add the label. I will copy and paste it into the chat, and then we should be able to see your repo issue appear on the project. So not yet. Obviously, Carl needs to add it to the query, but it's going to be EddieHub good first issue. So just put that in the chat if that's correct.
So I already prepared like the query we would need to create this EddieHub good first issue. So yeah, we are querying for open things with the EddieHub good first issue label, and no one assigned, because I think it's not making that much sense to actually query or display like issues that are already assigned.
That's true.
Yeah, that's why there's this no assignee, and actually this should take. Oh, I see where there's an issue, probably issue card line 38.
Maybe there's some condition like there's no result.
Yeah, exactly.
Or...
Exactly. That's the.
Although there should be some results. I thought I had used the issue one of my projects. If not, I can add it.
Just let me issue the report. I think we just need to check for primary language, because there might be repos where we are actually just having Markdown, for example, that aren't having like a primary language. So
yeah, Carl is using Gitpod as always.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
That's right. So yeah, seems like there are already like for EddieHub good first issues. out there.
Awesome. So we need somebody to create, let's just check it's searching outside of the EddieHub organization. So if someone can create an issue or an existing issue on their repo and put the label.
There's one in the in Krish username checker.
Thank you, Krish.
Repo, which seems to have this label. So
Awesome.
yeah, we're having like multiple options now. For example, we can click on the repo name, which takes us to the repo itself. We're having the issue name, which takes us to the issue. So
nice.
There's also in our repo is an open issue where we discuss whether we want to have like a preview, so we don't have to leave our web app to display like any general information about the issue we could work on. But I'm still not sure if that's like reinventing the wheel, and we don't need this or we need this. I don't know. And what you could also do is just start up a workspace immediately.
Nice.
For this. I think that's the issue that the repo is currently empty.
Oh, okay, got you.
I think that's why we can't open it there, but as like an edge case. And we are getting all labels displayed also with the corresponding color. So the colors should actually be the same.
That's awesome. Yeah, the colors do look the same. So it's great that everyone can see that it's not just EddieHub repos, it is now any repo on GitHub, which is what we wanted to do. So we wanted to have it. So Krish's, yours is at the top. I didn't see that before. So therefore, if anyone in the community wants to share their good first issues in this app, then they can add that label and it will automatically appear here. And once it's closed or assigned, it disappears off the list, which I think is really good thinking. So that's looking good. So Carl's next step, I'm guessing, is thinking of adding toggles, because some people might not want to search the whole of GitHub. Some people might. So
exactly,
to make it more interesting. But this is just to prove to all of you that it is searching GitHub in real time. So as Krish added and removed the label or added the label, it appeared. Kendall, just to say, yes, we're filtering by specifically EddieHub : good first issue we're filtering with at the moment. So I don't know where he says, where's your issue gone? We're not searching a particular repo. We're searching across the whole of GitHub for a specific label. So those issues probably don't have the label at the moment.
Exactly.
Okay, so what is the next step, Carl?
So for I'd say it's currently a get endpoint here.
Okay.
I'd probably turn it into a post endpoint and transfer the query we are running against the GitHub API in the body of this post request. Also, this might help us in the future in case we want to allow people to run their custom queries against it. So my first step would probably be turn this into a post. And now we need to fix it into our index file. We are calling the endpoint here from the load function. That's a SvelteKit thing. This function runs on the server side when initially calling our website, but also runs client side when navigating through the page. So when it's not rendered yet and we call the URL of this route inside our browser, this load function runs on the server side. It's technically just server-side fetching, a common pattern which is also used by Next, for example.
Awesome.
So what we need to do here is we need to turn this into a post. And now we need to probably get the query from the body of the post request. So I probably do this here after the error handling. So what we can do now, const body equals await, and now we need to pass in the request. So now we can access the body. And what we need to do is pass in the query string now. Just turn this into a comment as well.
While you're writing that, everyone, Tom came up with a great idea. So if anyone needs any green squares, please do raise the issue. Chris came up with an idea as well. Do raise the issue. And you could probably make a pull request as well, because that's not affected by the work that's going on at the moment. So you could make a pull request with that. I like the idea. Rather than having the GitHub icon show the repo owner, so the repo owner or the organization, could be quite interesting. And then Chris also mentions the author of the issue. I think we should display both. I think we need to. Sorry, Carl, carry on.
Sure. Yeah, what I did is I just created two variables with the queries we spoke about earlier, because they are more or less static, because we currently don't need an option to pass them in dynamically with an input field, for example. That's why I can just have like the global query and the query which just queries our organization. Yeah, that's it technically. So we need to turn them into a object. So I'll probably just call this post body equals query, and then I just take the org query for default. We need to find an option to specify whether we want to use the org query or the global query. But for switching get to post, it doesn't matter. Currently, it's just getting it up and working again. So,
and if anyone else needs some more green squares, can someone raise an issue to write automated tests for this? We could take a lot of the foundation of automated testing using Cypress and Cucumber from the link-free project. So, excuse me, someone can raise an issue, and if anyone wants to raise a pull request, needs any help, raise a draft pull request and let me know and have a look. But I think most of it could be copy and pasted over from the link-free project.
So hopefully now, yeah, we are getting some new issues back.
Awesome. Another green square for people as well. Bryce says if you could filter by a particular topic, so filter repositories by a particular topic. So if someone can raise an issue for that, nice green square for you. So Carl, just explain to me what you changed in that last bit for anyone who's just joined.
I just, let me open this tab here. We had the endpoint that actually sends the request to GitHub as a GET request, as a GET endpoint, which takes in, or which expects a GET request from our front end. And I just turned it to a post and made the query that gets transferred to the GitHub API dynamically. So we can pass in the query that runs against the GitHub API inside the request body we send from our index.svelte root here. So we just changed get to post. That's it actually.
Okay. Sounds good.
So yeah, this is technically working now. We are using the org queries to query just the issues from our organization. I just can pass into the global query to just double check if everything's working. Looks like.
I think Chris's one disappeared, I think now. I guess Chris removed the label.
We can have a look.
Oh, it's still there. Oh, is it assigned? It's not assigned. That was okay.
That's really a bit strange now.
Is open, label, EddieHub, good first issue.
Is open, no assignee.
Just check that I haven't misread it. I thought there was just one more. Check the results. Hey, Prathamesh, awesome. Thanks for joining. Good to catch you here. Just say Eddie Jald, EddieHub, and EddieHub.
just let me run this query inside.
No problem.
Inside GitHub itself. Issues.
Cool. Green squares all around. Did someone assign it to you? I don't know.
The
interesting.
query inside GitHub itself returns also just 3 issues. Probably the ones we are getting returned. Like,
that's strange because it was working before.
I'm not sure if it's broken or if it's just something other, because
no, it's not broken on our side. You're right, because it's coming up with the same result.
I think
Krish might say it's the spaces.
Oh yeah, might be, but it worked though.
Yeah, that was strange. I have spaces and the query is dashes. Oh, okay. But it worked before though, which was strange.
Yeah. Then
can you bring up Krish's issue again? Does it have spaces? I'm trying to see what it is.
Yeah, it uses spaces.
Yes, that wouldn't match it. Interesting why it showed before. Did you rename it, Krish? You're trying to confuse us. I'm already confused. So don't confuse me more. But okay, so that explained it. Krish, can you update the label with hyphens, with dashes and a C? Okay. Sorry, Carl. That's Krish's fault. That's not on me. That's on Krish. But it was there before. I don't think he updated it, so I'm super confused.
Yeah, that's really strange. I have to admit that. So what I'd probably do now is to get like this toggle thing working, to use like a query param inside our URL, which says global true or false, depending which query we want to run. It's also hopefully not a big deal. So what we are needing is we need a variable where we can store in whether we want to use the one or the other query. I'd probably initialize it with false. So in case no param gets passed in, we are querying our organization. That's probably the approach I take. And now we just probably need to pass this. So we're having like global query equals JSON.parse URL. I need to pass in URL as well.
I'm sure everyone's coming up with lots more ideas. I will share the repo again, everyone, if you want a link to the repo. And you can raise ideas and issues there. Start discussions. Here we go. Don't forget to check out Carl's GitHub in a link in the description below as well.
It's declared doubled. Then we're using global param. Okay, and then when having the post body here, we can just we just need to check whether global param is true or false, and that's it.
Sounds good.
So we can be into global param and then check if, in case it's true, it's we are taking the global query, and in case it's false, we are taking the organization query. So what we could do now is, as it's a TypeScript project, we could write a interface or a type for our post body, but it's just like query with this string. So we could do something like this, or define it inside our other type declarations we are already having. Yeah, I'd probably leave it like that for now, because it's really no complicated object. It's just like a query which is a string value, and then yeah. Yeah, then the fetch is correct. And then when returning data, I also just want to return the checked value to see whether the checkbox inside our UI needs to be ticked or not. So what we're doing here is we are returning props, which gets passed from the load function inside our component here. Yeah, so we need to define a new prop, which is called checked. You see, we're exporting data from our component, and that's exactly what the load function is doing. When returning props, we're returning data which gets defined here with type search response. And now I just add another prop, which is called checked, and it's true or false, and that's where we can declare it as a Boolean. Yeah, so then we need to make this dynamic, reactive. This $sign is making our value reactive. That means we can react on changes just in case, for example, the search items change or the filter labels change, or we're getting a new search string, because we are technically now able or having to handle the case that our data changes dynamically depending on the if the toggle gets clicked or not. I hope this makes sense. I can show you once it's coded.
Okay.
But it's technically, I think technically the hardest thing is already done.
Okay,
so
sounds good. Hopefully everyone's following along. If you have any questions, let us know in the chat. Sorry, Carl, carry on.
I'd just add a checkbox for now, so we can see the toggle, if the toggling works, and yeah, if that's working, we can style the checkbox, and then hopefully it's not a big deal anymore. So this is type checkbox, and then we need to bind the checked value to our prop here, bind checked. And what we now need is a change handler. So in case the checkbox gets checked or unchecked, we need to rerun our query. I think that this makes sense, because we, depending on the state of the checkbox, we want to display like the organization query or the global query. I think that's understandable, right?
Yeah, makes sense. I'm interested to see how you do that. But we have a question from Kendall that I'm actually interested to know the answer. So sure. Is your name Carl or Julian? So my understanding is it's Julian, but Carl is like a nickname. However,
exactly.
Your name on here on your profile says Julian. So should I use Julian from now on, or Carl? What do you prefer?
I don't have any preference regarding this. I think everyone's calling me like Carl, but my official name is Julian. Yes.
Okay, I'll stick with. If you're happy with that, I'll stick with Carl, because it's
sure.
my small brain can't handle the change. I don't think. And then Prathamesh, awesome to have you here. Yeah, let me know if people are interested. We can do some stream reviews, open source project reviews on live stream as well, and I can bring some guests in as well if people are interested. Let me know any guests you would like. I want one more shout out. We had Neil, hopefully I pronounced your name right. yes, get into open source. Definitely do it. Then we can all be as cool as Carl. So yeah, sorry, Carl, carry on. So the Unchanged Handler. Okay, let's have a look at this.
Exactly. The Unchanged Handler is a function, and inside this function, we need to have again our checked prop we're having here, because in case it's checked, we need to set the query param to true, because we want the global query. That's it. Actually, if we need to import a Svelte specific function for this. It's called goto, and we can import this from app navigation. And it's an asynchronous function. That's why it returns a promise. That's why we need to await the function. So we are just doing await goto, and we are just returning global true. So we are actually staying on we are staying on the current root and just adding or changing the query parameter we are already having, because when calling the goto function, the load function gets rerun, and then depending on the param we are passing in, the global query or the OR queries runs. Does this make sense? I hope so.
Yeah, no, it's good. Chris is saying you're explaining things well, so I agree, it's good.
So then we need to call the perform search, because that's not working currently because it's having syntax errors now. The perform search I can show you. I'll show this once it's done, because that's probably making more sense. Just global equals false. Perform search. So just let me. And if I check this now, hopefully the query gets. Oh, we didn't pass in the Unchanged Handler. So we are not handling anything now. just a thought.
You were just testing to make sure everyone was awake. That's what it was.
So the Unchanged handler is, how's it called? Unchanged Handler. So, and now hopefully when passing you need to pass in bind. I think I'm not sure if that's a bug in Svelte, but I feel like when having the binding as the last prop, it's not working. So I bet it's working now. Just reload it. When having global true. Yeah, it's working. We're having like a few from Krish, and if I uncheck it, we are having our query. So that's it technically already. We can just go on and style this checkbox, create a component for it. But before this, are there any SvelteKit related things? Because I'm not sure if everyone knows these Svelte or SvelteKit specific things we did. I can show you, for example, why we need the perform search here. For example, we are having this search input, which lets us filter the current issues we are already having. Like, for example, add badges or something, just take add. And in case we check this, we also want to run this query against the new data set. and that's why we need to perform the search after we change the root.
Got you.
But yeah, I can remove it and it's still working.
Awesome.
We are having these labels here. These are all unique labels we are getting from our data set from the GitHub API. And that's pretty cool, I think. The actual filtering happens here. We take every label that gets returned and push it to a set and transfer the set back to an array, because a set, a JavaScript set, is only able to contain unique values. So every duplicate gets removed, and it's a good option if you have an array of many values and you just want the unique ones. You can transfer your array to a set and then transfer the set back to an array and return the set. Return the array that was previously a set.
I think, but is a set not? You can still iterate on a set. Is that correct? I'm sure I've used a set, but I didn't transfer it back to an array afterwards. I thought. I'm trying to think now.
I have to admit, I don't know this in detail.
I have a feeling. It's like a set is a superset. That's a terrible word. Or a subset. I don't know what the word is. Superset of an array. So I think it's still the same type. I'm not 100% sure. I need to test this out. And have a look. Yeah, I'll have to take that, test that out and see. I have a feeling that step might not be required. The last step. Yeah. But you're right, the set keeps it unique, which I think is important. But this is looking really good so far. So this is hosted on EddieHub's Kubernetes cluster. So you can all start getting involved. We have one PR already. We'll have more PRs coming soon. Dragon, start contributing straight away. We can display, there's some issues being created already. So do have a look at those. People are creating some ideas, which is great. Using Tailwind, SvelteKit. And, you've seen Carl do it really quickly, add an extra query to this, which I just think is awesome. How this is such a simple yet powerful app as well. Really, really cool.
So we probably can have a look. Oh, no, it's working, I think, because I just wondered, we are displaying the primary language of the repo, so people see immediately it's this repo is about Svelte. That's a JavaScript repo. EddieHub community GitHub.io is a HTML project, for example, and I was a bit suspicious why here aren't any displayed, but I think the username checker isn't having a primary. It's not even having a file. So it's okay. It's fine that it's not displaying a primary language. EddieHub support is also having, it's just YAML Markdown and stuff. It's also not really a coding project. That's why it's not displaying a primary language. And I think the same is for your own profile repo. It's also probably just Markdown and not a coding project.
It's my customized
then it's fine.
Profile. Okay.
Yeah, then it's fine. I was just wondering why there aren't any languages displayed, but in that case, it's making sense, definitely.
Okay, so this looks good. So I'm trying to think, how can we also make it so we can help people get started with finding good first issues. So once this is deployed, we can kind of tell people that they can add the label to their repos and issues, and it will appear. What's the default, by the way? Does it search just our organization or the whole of GitHub at the moment? It's the our organization only.
By default, it's our
organization.
Our org. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do now is I probably write a component for this toggle that it's a bit more visual and people know what's
Sure.
actually happening. I think this doesn't need to be a crazy thing. If someone from the community is very familiar with CSS, feel free to improve this toggle. But I'd probably keep it simple for now, but just to have it a better visual feedback if we display like our org or like the global GitHub thing, because just by having this checkbox, I'm not sure if that's really working out for people.
Yeah, we can maybe put it up next to the search or something. If
Yeah,
no one
exactly.
wants it, Carl, maybe just do something really simple, and someone else can make it, look better. So yeah, like maybe just, I don't know, global. Put the word global next to the checkbox or something. Just something really simple, and then someone else can make improvements.
So we can just go through a Svelte component itself, because I
Sounds
think
good.
when having a checkbox or a toggle or whatever, it's definitely worth writing a own component for this. And just to get like the Svelte fundamentals, that's probably a good idea, because although I really love Svelte, I still feel like it's not that widespread currently already. So it might be nice to show on how an actual Svelte component is written.
I like it. I'm just asking in the chat, who has used Svelte before? But if not, or if so, we're going to find out how to create a component, which I think is really important. Okay.
So there was a Vue stream on the weekend, and for me personally, Svelte feels a bit like Vue, although it's technically something completely different. But just the structure of a Svelte component really reminds me of Vue. So in case you played around with Vue, this might look a bit familiar.
Yeah, I remember. So, I think it is familiar. You got the template and the script sections, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are also in Svelte components. We are having a script and a style tag. We aren't having a template tag like Vue has. We can write our HTML markup directly inside the Svelte file and don't need to wrap it inside a template tag. But we are technically also having this style and the script tag. The stylings inside the style are always scoped to the Svelte file we are using. So cool. we are able to declare global styles, but the default ones we define inside our component are always scoped to this Svelte file. That's probably the only thing you need to remember. So I'll start with a script tag and use TypeScript, because I really love TypeScript. I create no project without it.
TypeScript is awesome. I've been using it less and less recently because the EddieHub projects do using more JavaScript to kind of like not scare people off with TypeScript, but TypeScript is awesome.
Yeah. So then inside our TypeScript here, we need to define like props. Props are the values we can pass into our component from the parent, and they are defined more or less in plain JavaScript by just having export let and then checked, and it's a Boolean. That's everything. So when creating or using our toggle, we can pass in the checked value, which needs to be a Boolean then. We can also pass in some more complex types, but for now we don't need this because the component isn't doing anything crazy. It's just like a toggle, which is true or false. So that's why it's just a Boolean for now. What we could do is set a default value by just pre-assigning a value to our prop. By pre-assigning a value, it's not mandatory anymore. So if I just remove the default, we need to pass in this checked value from the parent. If we have a default value, it gets optional. that's it when setting props. So I think this needs to be a mandatory value. Then we are having a left label, which needs to be a string. Oops. And we're having a right label that needs to be a string. And we need to pass in an ID because we are using a input checkbox input a checkbox input which needs to have a ID in order to make the labels clickable. So what I'll do now is I just add a div to wrap where I'll wrap everything in, and that's technically not needed. That's also a bit different to Vue, for example, where a component always needs to return just a single HTML element. Like usually use a div for this. Svelte could return like multiple HTML elements at the top level hierarchy of the component. So then I'll add a label, a div with this text, not text input, with this checkbox input, and a second label. So the values we need to, the labels are taking are getting in from the props. So we can use this at HTML. We could now just pass in label left. And here we could pass in label right. This would work totally fine. By adding this at HTML directive in front of it, we would also be able to pass in HTML strings. So our string could now have a p or a pre or whatever tag inside it, and it would render actual HTML because we told Svelte that this string could also be a HTML string.
Interesting.
I think we don't need it in our scenario, but I just always add it just to make sure maybe in the future there might be any scenarios where we're having this. That's super handy when it comes, for example, to working with headless CMS or stuff where actual HTML content is returned from the CMS, where you can just put this directive in front of it and you don't have to worry about parsing it. So the input needs to hold our ID we pass in. That's like the shortened version of ID equals ID, just because our prop is called ID, it just gets wrapped inside two curly braces. Just a shortened version.
That's nice. And it's like JavaScript with objects. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly. That's Svelte in general, really also when writing it, feels quite plain JavaScript. So I'd say it's very good for newcomers who aren't into this React specific things. And that's why the learning curve probably is quite easy to learn, I'd say.
Let me answer some questions in the chat. So Code with DN says they haven't started with open source yet. They're going to start next year when they learn, because now they only know, because I learn now only programming language. You don't even have to know how to code to get involved in open source. So get started straight away. Don't waste a year. Build up that personal brand and get started sooner. I know quite a few of you are students, but that's great that you're starting early. Kendall says, is this stupid? There are no stupid, there's nothing stupid. All ideas are great. So I have an organization to store my forks on GitHub. That's quite interesting. It's quite a tidy way to do it. That's something we should probably chat with Naomi, because Naomi is really good at organizing their repos and so forth. So yeah, that's an interesting idea. Apparently Krish does it all the time as well. So it's not something I do. I have everything under my account, but it's still, that's quite interesting thoughts. It's great to see how other people plan it. This is why different perspectives are so important. Sorry, Carl.
Should go on. I just can't see the chat in case
no
there
problem.
are any. In case there are any.
I will
questions.
read it if something comes out. No problem.
Unchanged Handler. Yeah, and we need to find checked. So now it says type checked is not assigned to type. Did I forget any props? Yeah, ID is, let's just use toggle for this. Now we should actually see, yeah, we're having two labels, like organization and global. And when clicking one of them, the thing gets checked. So now we just need to add the styling to our labels and to our input. And for this, we can fortunately use Tailwind.
Awesome. We'll keep it really basic because StyleDragon is offering to help us with the styling. We're using Tailwind, as Carl mentioned. So Carl will just make it, kind of good enough just so it can be committed and pushed. And then feel free to raise another issue of some of your ideas, and then you can improve it as well. So that would be awesome. But yeah, this project's a good one to get involved in. It's very new. But also, we also have our link-free one. But link-free is React, and this is Svelte. So I know a lot of people have been asking for different types of technologies. So now we have got Svelte or SvelteKit into our EddieHub projects as well. Let me share a link to it again.
Yeah. So when having Tailwind, I currently use it for all my projects I start, because Tailwind is such a game changer in my opinion. Also, when it comes to CI and consistency and stuff. So what I did here now is I added a new colors, 100, 200, and 300. And if I just go to our branding repo, yeah, that's it. We're having like this collection of EddieHub assets. And what I did was I took these three colors here, these hex codes, and pass them in here so we can use them consistently with all Tailwind classes. So I have this background EddieHub 200, that's FF5A00. That's like this orange here. Yeah, just to make things easier and keep them consistent so we don't have to repeat this hex code over and over again. Yeah, so I'll probably start with this outer div because it needs to be a inline flags. There's also a Tailwind extension out there which gives us IntelliSense for all the Tailwind classes.
Nice.
That's also making things much easier. Just if I center, then we need space. So then I added a new shadow standard. And then we just want some transitions to get displayed.
Everyone loves transitions.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're having like this thing here, and we just now need to have like this active state because we are currently not displaying anything for this. So we need to add this inversed class. This inverse class is just a orange background with a white text. And this needs to be added dependently on the checked value we are getting passed in here. So to have conditional classes in Svelte, we can just use class, colon, and then the name of the class we want to add dynamically, that's inversed. And then this should be added in case checked isn't checked. And here we just need to add a class inversed, and here this needs to take it in case checked is true. So we can just adjust things here a bit to have a pointer. Rounded corners.
You need those rounded corners. Makes it go faster. I love rounded corners.
So, and here also transition.
But you remember everything.
I think once you're familiar with all these Tailwind classes, because just as a small background, we at Gitpod, we migrated our whole project from custom CSS to Tailwind. We got rid of every SAS file that was causing some overrides and stuff, because that's really causing trouble when having a large scale project and you don't know which classes are overwritten by which class and where they are stored and stuff. That's why we decided to remove every custom CSS and just use these Tailwind classes inline. So we can immediately see which stylings are getting applied on this label, for example, and we don't have to go through the whole CSS markup and see which class gets overwritten where by what, because that's making it quite hard to debug in case there are any responsiveness issues or something. That's why I got very used to these Tailwind classes.
Yeah, I think I need to, I remember them when I was using it, but when you haven't used it in a while, you do forget.
Yeah, and now there's our toggle. It's nothing too special, but it's working, at least.
I think it looks great.
So what we just need to do now is put it to a place where it looks okay. So just take the values from here and paste it. Now the question is, where do we want to put it? I'd probably say next to the search or above the search. So the search is having a own component. So when passing it here, it's above. Otherwise, we would have to pass it inside the actual search component. So what do you think? Keep it there. We just need to add some spacing probably then.
Yeah.
I just wrap it inside a helper div. At a margin bottom. That's it. And now we can toggle between global issues and our organizational issues.
That's very cool. I like the toggle. I like it. Very nice.
Yeah. So we can just double check that every feature is still working. Yeah. So we can filter by labels and by text. This seems to work. Yeah, that's it. Probably we can just review the changes.
Did Kendall says our good first issue website is not working, is it not? Let me check. Oh, it's not working. It's the error that we had before. So thanks for spotting that, Kendall. Appreciate it. This was the one. Was this the same issue you had before? I think you fixed it now.
Yeah, it's fixed now. With this pull request, it should be fixed.
So we're going to review it on this live stream now, and we're going to get it merged in so we can fix it. This is why we need automated tests. So who needs green squares? We're going to write some automated tests for this project. I have a video on it. We have link-free project, has automated tests with Cypress and Cucumber. You should be able to get it set up quite quickly. And then you can write tests, test the pages to make sure it all works. So Kendall, thanks for spotting that. We're going to get this fixed as soon as possible. And I replied to you with this link. It's a bit of a long link, but have a click on that, Kendall. A bit more about becoming a maintainer. Freelance. I did a video on this recently as well. Pros and cons of both.
So now we should just be able to open the pull request.
Cool.
It closes 25. Yep. And that's it pretty much.
Okay, cool. Which video link, Starground? The ones for writing automated tests. It's on my YouTube channel. There'll be one that says Cypress, and I think I have probably more than one. So yeah, let me see if I can quickly find it. Add value to any project. I think that might be one with Cypress. Might be the one. I have to check it and see.
So I just requested your review, and by hopefully getting this approved, our project online should also be fixed then.
Okay, cool. Well, let me bring up. Oh, the one via freelancing. My bad. Okay, see, this is why it's good for everyone to give context in all your messages, so it's clear. Saves time for everybody. One of my interview tests is, do people give context when asking questions and so forth? I actually have a playlist for freelancing of all my videos, freelancing videos. So freelancing videos. Here you go. Thanks, Krish. I really appreciate the support. Okay, let me review this PR. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's keep Carl's, because we will need it shortly, I'm sure. So let's just bring up my one. And let's have a look. Share screen. No worries, you're welcome. Let me know what you think. If I missed anything out, let me know, and I can create more content on it. Okay, so hopefully you all can see my screen now. Here we go. Let's go to pull requests. We've got a couple of pull requests. So Susmita, are you still here? Let's have a look. This got approved already. Kendall, what did you mean here? Was going to tell that what? I'm not sure what that means. Or maybe the title. I'm not sure. Okay. That looks good. I'm guessing it's a standard code of conduct. And we do in the EddieHub use that code of conduct. So let's get that merged. Squash and merged. Okay, we do use conventional changelog, but for this one, it's not, doesn't matter too much. Let's squash and change it. Squash and merge it, I mean even. Okay, next pull request. Contributing guidelines is always probably a bit more work, so but it's good to just start with these, I think, and see how to contribute. This is from Linkfree, so you probably want to change this.
Yep.
Wrong directory name. I'll probably review this later on because it's a bit more reviewing on it. And let's go to Carl's one. Let's get this deployment running because it takes about 5 minutes, I think, to deploy. So let's have a look. So it's going to close 2 issues. Okay. There's the changes. Looks good. We did see it working. This reminds me of back in the days of like PHP and so forth.
It's super straightforward.
For me, it's confusing. No, for me, it's quite confusing. I know everyone says it's straightforward. Maybe I'm just weird. I think it's quite confusing.
I think when you used to Vue or React or something, you really get used to that many things that aren't like native to the browser. For example, when just thinking of that you can't use class in React because you're writing JSX and you need to use class name, for example.
That's awful.
Your browser doesn't understand this. and that's like habits you get used to, but are actually not related to how your browser works actually. And that's the nice thing about Svelte.
Okay, so I think everything is sorted. I think some package lock got.
It's just a version bump.
Oh yes, the version bump. Okay, cool. But good spot, good check. So Kendall, thank you very much for checking that. That's good. Okay, let's get this squashed and merged. I don't think I've missed anything. Package lock, no. Please link 88. That's been done. Perfect. Great teamwork, everyone. Love that. Love that. Let's move the word add. Toggle for global query. Let's squash. And then we can pop over. I'm going to delete that branch. Then we're going to pop over to actions. Let's just take a little peek. We should see this. That's the changelog one first, but we should see the deployment one and so forth come soon. And we get to see the deployment and we can test it. So if I go to website, it will say version. It's busted. Okay, it's not saying any version at the moment, but the version at the moment is 0.9.1. So we're looking for 0.10 to come out shortly, and then it'll be deployed as well. Awesome. What did I miss in the chat? You're welcome. Read comment in that PR. Okay. Great teamwork, everyone. I think we're good. So pull requests still at 1. Oh, 10 just came in 32 seconds ago. Look at that. Awesome. So the deployment should be happening soon. Here we go. There we go. So it's going to build it. It's going to push the Docker image to the GitHub container registry and then deploy to the EddieHub Kubernetes cluster. And then we will see it on the page.
Yep.
Awesome.
So what I just wanted to add to the project itself is I really enjoy the simplicity it actually has, because it's technically just making an API request to an endpoint and display the response. So it's nothing too complicated. I think it's a good real world example for a front end app which queries an API. And when just reading through the issues that are open and that got opened during the stream, there's so much space for improvement, and the changes that are requested there aren't that Svelte specific. So I think it's a really good project, or really good issues for people who are just getting started with HTML and are not familiar with these React specific things I mentioned earlier. They can really get started with this, hopefully at least.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to know someone starting out with maybe Svelte without having any experience of React or Angular, if they find it easier to get started or not. I think you're right. I think they'll find it easier. So yeah, if people haven't got a library or framework to use, that could be a good one to do. But just know if people in the chat could list your favorites. So if you only know 2, for example, I don't know, React and Svelte, then just list them in priority order, like 1 number is whatever, React or Svelte, and then number 2 the other one. If you've used 3 or 4, then list those, but in priority order. I'm really interested to know what people's favorites are. So let's Krish started with Svelte. Okay, interesting. Did you stick with it? You started with it, Krish. Did you stick with it is the question. Oh, but then I dumped my Svelte knowledge in the bin. Okay. SvelteKit didn't exist back then. Yeah, SvelteKit is really taking it to the next level.
Yes, SvelteKit is still a official beta project. So they are publishing new versions on a daily basis, probably. And you always have to keep track of your package JSON that you actually pin your SvelteKit version, because in case they release a new version where they introduce some breaking changes, your project might stop working from one day to another without any changes, but just by running a npm install. That's just a tip when using SvelteKit. Always pin the version in your package JSON, because that happened to me and to us at Gitpod. already. And yeah.
To answer this question, why does it take so long to deploy? Because we're doing a lot of process. So yes, this is a small project, but we're actually doing a deployment as if it was a large or even a client project. So when we're building the project, we're actually getting the artifacts and going to upload them to and save them on, as you can see, upload artifacts to GitHub's hosting. And the reason for that is then in the next step, when we create the Docker image, we can actually pull those artifacts. We know those artifacts have been tested and been built and tested and so on, it works. So then we move on to the next step, where it should be a bit faster, this step. So, but the first step, the build will grow as we write automated tests, as it does more things. It can maybe take 5 minutes to 5-10 minutes to run. And then the last 2 steps should be pretty quick, I think. We can even check, if we go to actions, we can see how it looks. So we can go to previously, like the previous one that got deployed. You can see, well, build took 24 seconds last time. I don't know why it took so long this time. But then to create the Docker image and publish it is just over 1 minute. And 21 seconds to deploy to the Kubernetes cluster on DigitalOcean. So yeah, I'm not sure why that one took so long. Sometimes it happens in terms of, maybe there wasn't enough resources on GitHub or something like that. But this should almost be done soon and move on to the next one. But yeah, thanks for raising that question. It's always good to discuss these things. Oh, Chris has already beat me to it. You're all too fast. Kendall, not sure what the wait sec is for. Always give context, please. It really helps. Cool. Hi. Okay. Read 85 in good first issue. Thanks for support from India. Hi. 85. While that's running, what's 85? 85, 83, 84, 80. Where's 85? You know what? I can just click on it and edit the URL.
It's the code of conduct thing.
Did I watch something up? Oh yeah, good spot, Kendall.
Yeah.
Yes. They put in their email address instead of the EddieHub one or my one. Anyone want to raise a PR? Green square, anyone? You can raise an issue as well to get another green square. Good spot. Thank you. Someone can raise a new issue and new PR. More green squares. The green square? Green square. There you go. Okay, so who wants a green square? I'd like that one fixed quite soon. So if someone could, that would be awesome. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you so much. I already kind of merged it in, so I couldn't stop or wait. But we can fix it. Always roll forward. So that's a good. What's the official email address? Let's see what we. Thanks for making the PR. Let me just check the other repos probably. So if I go to Linktree, what do we use in there? Code of conduct. Community@eddiehub.org. I better check that I can actually access the email. No, I think Sarah gets it, so it's okay.
You can just hit F5 because it should be deployed now.
Oh, okay. Let's check. Let's have a look. Yes, look at that. Looks really good. I really like this design that you've done. Like, I don't know, really cute, really good. Like Apple-esque design, nice and clean. Look at that with the transitions as well.
Yeah,
so cool.
Just by adding the Tailwind class transition all, and then the duration to it, and then yeah, that's it.
Really, really nice. Like that. That's great. Another issue, if someone wants to raise an issue and get some more green squares, could we have a bit more space at the bottom, I think, for these? And another issue could be, can we get the version number? So we have, so we know what version has been deployed. At the moment, it's 0.10.0. It'd be great to get that displayed on the website. Also favicon as well, if someone can change the favicon too. So lots of green squares.
There's already a issue for the favicon.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, just go through the issues. There are still also for adding a build validation before merging pull requests, for example. So we can make sure that the project actually builds before merging it.
Oh, nice. Yes.
That's also added as a issue with priority. Yeah, there are quite a few good first issues. Also, just for adding a proper README, because the project still uses the default one SvelteKit, the boilerplate actually provides us. Yeah, there are quite a few very beginner-friendly issues inside this project.
Yeah, there are loads of people to get started. Sorry, I'm munching on some sweets. Krish, we do have discussions is labeled. It's here.
I can't see it either.
Oh.
The discussions tab.
Why is it on my tab, on my screen? Oh, it's not enabled, but it's showing on mine, which is very strange. Okay, I've enabled it now.
I really enjoy seeing the project where it started, because when thinking back, I started like working as my personal side project to get things done, and I can remember when we transferred it to the organization, and if I look now on the progress it already made since we kind of donated the project or transferred it to the organization, is quite cool, I think.
Yeah, it's really great to see it, how far it's come. So I think that's awesome. Thanks for fixing that email. That's awesome. Oh, did not mean to click on that. Did not mean to click on that either. Here we go. Okay, it's looking really good. What other questions do we have for people, from people even? Cool. It should be docs. What should be docs? I've missed a few things. Oh, it should be docs for the email. Yes, maybe it should be docs. Yeah, good point, because now it's going to build. I messed it up. My bad, because I did fix, it's going to build 10.1, but there's actually no project change. Krish, you're right. Docs : thank you very much. Sorry, GitHub Actions, I've given you a bit more work to do when nothing actually is going to change. Yeah, already committed. Oh well. But yeah, if someone can, as I'm thinking of it, if someone can raise the issue for displaying the issue, the version number as well, I think that'd be pretty cool. We could even just put it in brackets after this. Also, what do you think? I think maybe we could. I guess you might put navigation along the top. Is that why there's a gap here? I guess we could put maybe bump everything up, but otherwise there is space for navigation. All looking really. The design is really nice. Do I use Git, Eddie? Yes, I do use Git on the command line. I love it. Here's an idea from Krish. Global should be enabled by default on the toggle. Yeah, it's. I think it's a personal preference. When Carl was doing the default to be organization, I was toying with the idea to have global as well. So, I mean, it's easy for not everyone's going to be happy anyway. Whatever we pick, someone's going to want the opposite, but they can just click it and it's very easy. It's there. It's obvious at the top. Just kind of click and so on. But if we do want to encourage more community projects and do want to give other people's projects a shout out, then maybe we should default to global. We can always change it. Someone can raise an issue and a pull request for it. Definitely don't want to keep having pull requests that flop. That's the expression, that flop between the two. But if we change it once, that's fine, or twice, Cool. Okay. And yeah, I just seeing all this discussions. It was disabled, but I could see it on mine, which is why I thought it was enabled. So my bad. Awesome. I think this is a really great project. Hopefully you'll think it's going to be useful for people to get involved. I think there's lots of good first issues on this project, but also get all of your projects, the community's projects highlighted on here. I do like the idea of Tom of changing the GitHub logo icon to be the projects icon. So either the maintainer or the owner of the project or the organization. And then it'd be good to have the author, as Krish said as well, maybe displayed I don't know, potentially after here, maybe in brackets and clickable to go to that user as well again, which could be quite cool.
I kind of used the design GitHub also uses for displaying this kind of thing, because they're also having like author / repo name in a smaller font weight than the actual issue, and then that's the only reason behind it. It's just like an adoption of the of how GitHub uses their UI when it comes to issues.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. I do like the design. Very Apple GitHub-esque. I like it.
You can hit the little arrow button at the end of every line. It's displaying the issues. I thought of maybe adding some additional info about the repo or the project or the issue, whatever, that could be displayed when toggling this button. But yeah, as I said, it's for me, it's like we should really think if we really want to reinvent the wheel, because you could just jump to the issue, get your info there, and jump back, for example. That's probably open a discussion that could be opened if we want to have like a issue preview or something like that when opening this toggle, or if we click on the issue name, if we want to jump to another page inside our app instead of linking to the issue on GitHub immediately, where we could also display some info so we don't have to navigate away from our app. Yeah, that's just, feel free to open a discussion for this. I wasn't sure on what to do with this. It's just an idea for now.
It's someone's probably opened it before you even finished the sentence. When you said, let's have a discussion about this, I bet someone's already gone and opened it, which is awesome. The speed of everyone in the community is like so fast. It's great. Really nice. Okay, well, if there's no more questions coming in, let's give a big shout out to Carl for taking the time on to build this project, but also to time to take us on this live stream and all the coding that's been going on. Let me just get Carl's GitHub and share it in the chat again. It's already in the description below, but let me just share it. This is Carl's GitHub. Do check out what Carl has been up to, and follow Carl on GitHub to see all the awesome things that he's doing. So
I'm not that happy with my contribution graph this month. I have to admit that. Okay,
shall we have a look? Let's have a look. It's probably better than mine, I'm sure. No, it's good. I think that's good.
It's a bit commit heavy. I had months where it was like nearly or close to the perfect balance, but yeah, this month it's very pull request commit heavy.
Yeah, thank you all, everyone, for your help in the chat. I think it's awesome. And you've already got people following you as well, which is great. So that is very, very cool. 131 followers. Awesome. We'll get to 150 next time. So yeah, everyone, do take a look. I think the important things to take away from, I'm thinking of things we should do as a higher priority, is the version number to display that. I think it'd be quite a nice feature. Automated tests, again, because it's been broken. We don't know how long it was broken for, because the GitHub Actions didn't run anything to check if it was broken. So I think automated tests could be good. And again, we've got it on the link-free project. So if I go to the link-free and just give a quick, got Cypress, and then you've got, I think it's under integrations, if I remember correctly, and you've got these different tests. So you can see, scenario, I open the homepage. When I open the homepage, I expect to see contribute on in the footer. So for example, it checks that the app loads. This is just a really simple test and check that it loads. So on this one, we could, for example, check that we see this title. And actually that displayed on the error page as well. So actually it's probably not a good thing to check. Maybe we can check that the two links at the bottom do appear. So that could maybe be a better check to see. What else? And then we have a search in good first issue project. We also have a search on Linkfree, so you can write some tests like this. So in this one, for example, I see Eddie Jowd in the main section. I also see Kunal. But if I type Eddie Jowd in the search field, then I should still see Eddie, perfect. But then I should no longer see Kunal. So things like that. And also checking from the negative tests, the boundary conditions. Check that I see Eddie again. But when I search for ABCD, that I actually expect now to see no users found, and I expect not to see Eddie. So these are good tests to check that we don't break the application. If we do, we can either find out about it locally before we push. Come to the worst, if we do commit and push, then we can find out about it on GitHub Actions so on CI before we deploy it. So I highly recommend having a look at that. That would be good. And I think it's just some small config that is needed for it as well, which Cypress mostly generates, I think, as well. Yeah. So have a look at that. Thanks, Krish. Appreciate it. Not sure what maintainers star means. If I missed something else in the chat. Okay. Awesome. Carl, thank you again so much. I think it's probably a good place to end. It's almost Tuesday for me, so and it's probably afternoon for you. You need to probably get back to work on Monday as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll have a call in a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Perfect timing.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you get time to get a comfort break and go get a drink and so forth. Thank you all, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate it, and we'll chat to you in Discord and we'll geek out with you on GitHub as well. Have a great day wherever you are, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. I'm going to end it, Carl, and I'll keep